This is CGTN, China Global Television Network.
The cancellation of the Tokyo 2020 Olympic and Paralympic Games is one of the biggest talking points of the coronavirus pandemic-plagued 2020, which is now drawing to a close. However, athletes around the world are determined to put on a show at the rescheduled Games in 2021. Tonight, Sports Scene brings you some of their inspirational stories and much more. Hello and welcome to your home of African sports news, views and interviews. This is Sports Scene here on CGTN. I'm Mahia Mutua in Nairobi. Great to have you joining us. Also coming up on the program, marathoner Johnson Logie looking to put South Sudan on the sporting map at Tokyo 2020 Olympics. And South African Toyota Gazoo racing team unveils its driver lineup for the 2021 Dakar Rally. Welcome to the program now. After getting some additional racing under his belt, 400 meters world record holder Wade van Niekerk has closed his 2020 season. This brings an end to a solid comeback campaign, which has proved he is back on track for next year's Tokyo Olympic Games. CGTN CS du Plessis spoke to the Olympic champion on his comeback trail.
Wade van Niekerk's return to competitive racing after a ruptured ACL continues to build momentum. Managing only a handful of races in a COVID-19 ravaged year, the 28-year-old has had to make the best of his limited opportunities to race, concluding the disrupted year with 2 meets at the University of Potchefstroom.
I think, yeah, it's been, as you know, it was a bit of a difficult, let's say, year for myself, trying to find consistency. And I guess that was like the start of trying to find consistency, and then obviously trying to follow through to the meetings that I'm doing now as well, just to get some race feel back again and try and get some racings in my leg and trying to shake off all the rust and so on. So yeah, I think the best way to explain that experience was a lot of nerves, a lot of stress and so on, but it's normal. I wanted to win, and I think that was a big reason why it stressed me out so much.
The 400-meter world record holder is grateful that he could get back on track in 2 low-key events, but would have been satisfied with his efforts in the 460 meters, where he claimed solid times of 45.89 seconds and 6.62 seconds, respectively.
Finishing the race healthy, finishing training healthy, being able to consistently train again and compete again, it's really a blessing, and it's really an opportunity I don't want to take for granted. So at the same time, I don't want to be silly by overdoing it, but at the same time, I want to take my opportunities when it comes.
The Olympic 400-meter champion has one thing on his mind heading into 2021, and that involves breaking the record he set in Rio 4 years ago.
Nothing else. Sub 43 is my only goal. I mean, that's growth. I want to grow. I want to be the best all-round athlete that's ever ran track and field, and I still feel very determined and motivated to continue that.
With qualification in the 100 meters and 200 meters firmly on his mind, van Niekerk isn't ruling out additional events in Tokyo, but defending his crown remains first prize for the king of the famous one-lap race.
I mean, winning is something that we want to do. I've tasted it once, and I would obviously love to continue it, so that's the only mentality that I do have for the Olympic Games, and obviously I also need to be realistic that it's not going to be easy, so I'm doing whatever it takes to be ready and be at my utmost best to compete against the world's best, but I'm definitely not going there to lose.
The reigning 400-meter world record holder continues to mention the quiet storm in his social media posts in the build-up to the 2021 Olympic Games. And the anticipation around his title defense in Tokyo is very much like the thunderstorm building up behind me, full of energy, buzzing with electricity, and a threat to the 43-second barrier. CS du Plessis, CGTN, Potchefstroom, South Africa.
Well, one of Kenya's sensations in distance running has already bagged himself 2 major accolades to his name. Ronex Kipruto, the world 10,000 meters bronze medalist, recently shocked the world with a new world record, still aged just 20. Here is the athlete who is eyeing a ticket to the Tokyo 2020 Olympics in his own words.
when we were training, we didn't knew that this bad situation or this pandemic will happen. So we had trained earlier last year. So I had prepared earlier for the Valencia 10K, and I was ready for it. With the corona pandemic is the threat now in the whole world, so we have been keeping ourselves safe, social distancing, sanitizing, training well as individually, eating well, and maintaining good hygiene. Yeah, when you are training at group, it is very good. You have so many training partners. It is not less like now. Maybe you can get 1 or 2 training partners, but previously we used to have a bigger number, and a bigger number is good. So because it will be, when it comes to training, it will be competitive. You have so many people there. No, that's not the way to go. You have to come to trials. You compete with your colleagues. When you make the team, you go. When you don't make, you need to stay. So because that's only the chance for us as Kenyans. Yeah, if I don't manage to get into the Kenya team, so what will I do? So I have to come back. Others who have proceeded will go. But if I am in the team, it is well and good. Yeah, me normally I keep my whereabouts up to date. I go tested. I do what is normally to be done when it comes to doping, because I know doping is a serious crime now. So when it comes to those people, I feel so sad for them.
Well, the Tokyo 2020 Olympics were not the only high-profile global sporting carnival to be axed in 2020 due to the coronavirus. CGTN's Asta Tal takes a look at some of the cancelled events and the impact it had on the sporting fraternity.
The Tokyo Olympics and Paralympics were to be the biggest highlights of what is seen to be the start of a new decade. The rise of the COVID-19 pandemic, however, rendered this impossible. This is despite efforts made by the Japanese government, IOC, and the organizing committee to hold the Games under any circumstances. And on March 24th, the Olympic and Paralympic Games were officially called off. The Games have been pushed back by a year and will now take place starting July 23rd and ending on August 8th, 2021. With the Paralympics taking place between the 24th of August and the 5th of September. The postponement means the reorganization is set to cost around $2.8 billion.
During the meeting, the Tokyo Metropolitan Government, the Government of Japan, and the Tokyo 2020 have agreed on the allocation of additional costs of the 2020 Tokyo Games that were postponed due to the COVID-19 pandemic. President Bach has expressed his strong determination that the IOC and us should work as one team and cooperate to ensure the success of the Games. He has also confirmed that the IOC will not seek any share of the royalties accruing from additional sponsorship.
Closer to home, the African Nations Championship, commonly referred to as CHAN, also got axed from the 2020 calendar. The 6th edition of the biennial football tournament was meant to take place between the 4th and 25th of April this year, and will now be expected to take place between January and February next year in Cameroon. In motorsports, the Safari Rally was meant to make a return to the World Rally Championship circuit after a 17-year hiatus. However, the much-anticipated comeback will have to wait until July 2021. In the same year, Kenya was also set to host another global event, the Under-20 World Athletics Championship in Nairobi. However, on the 24th of March, the World Athletics and the Kenyan government agreed to push the event to 1 week after the Tokyo Olympic Games next year. Some other major events that were pushed to the 2021 calendar include the Africa Cross Country Championships, African Senior Championships, and the Basketball Africa League. Many athletes will be hoping that 2021 will now be their year of glory as they take on some of the biggest events in the world. Astatal, CGTN.
You're watching Sports Scene here on CGTN. Plenty more still to come after this short break, including marathoner Johnson Logie looking to put South Sudan on the sporting map at the Tokyo 2020 Olympics.
Africa is a continent of diversity, with varied climates and enchanting geography, and a people so distinct, but with a shared enduring spirit. We are at the heart of the continent to bring you the untold stories.
Let's have a look.
We celebrate Africa as it shapes its own destiny.
Tunis,
Syria.
Juba, Ethiopia, Tanzania.
Africa Live. Find your voice.
How would you create your legend? On the fields, on the tracks, in the arenas of Africa. Were you born to be a player? Could this moment be yours? Sports Scene. Find your game.
Welcome back. Now, sports development in South Sudan is still in its infancy stage. Years of civil war in the country forced many young people to join armed forces instead of engaging in sports. However, some young athletes are determined to represent South Sudan at the Tokyo Olympic Games. Here is CGTN's Patrick Oyet with more.
Johnson Logie is the 23-year-old marathoner. As a secondary student, he has represented South Sudan in competitions across Africa, including in the Democratic Republic of Congo, Kenya, and Uganda, where he has won numerous medals. But he has even bigger dreams.
It's something that I love. Even if I go and sleep at night, I do dream about running. And I know one day I will go outside and I will present South Sudan.
But the road to getting there is littered with obstacles. Johnson says there are currently not enough training facilities. There is no financial support to buy sports equipment. No training camps have been established. Johnson is forced to train along the roadside.
Right now I'm doing my own things. I don't have a coach. I'm just running. People are saying sometimes, you see the way I'm wearing. People are saying, this man is crazy. So in Arabic. They call in Arabic Majnun. So why is he wearing like this?
There are still no school athletics competitions in South Sudan where young talents could be identified and nurtured.
South Sudan's athletic school competition was suspended because of civil war, and while relative peace has now returned to the country, the coronavirus pandemic has further delayed the return to competitions.
South Sudan's Olympics Committee says it is currently supporting the country's athletics federation by connecting it to athletics federations of other countries. It says it will also facilitate travel for South Sudan's athletes for competition across Africa.
Although none of our athletes qualified, but there are some chances now to go for another qualifications. We are supporting them in training, supporting the federations.
Johnson Logie says he will continue training in preparation to take any opportunity that will come his way. Patrick Oyet, CGTN, Juba, South Sudan.
In October 2019, Asiya Mohamed Sururu made history by becoming the first female para-rower from Kenya to qualify for the Paralympic Games after winning in Tunis qualifiers. to earn her ticket to the Tokyo Games. CGTN's Mohammed Abubakar caught up with the resilient para-rower in Mombasa as she started by explaining the tribulations she had to go through in her road to qualification.
So tulipata email from Rowing International Federation.
We received an email from the Rowing International Federation that we have to attend the qualifiers in Tunisia. But 2 weeks before the competition, the federation here in Kenya told me that they've tried to ask the ministry to fund the trip, but weren't successful. I couldn't let that chance go, so I asked for contributions from family and friends to fund my own air ticket. In the end, I got to travel, but without a coach. I knew it was going to be tough, but I really needed that experience and exposure. However, luck was truly on my side. I gave my all, won in my category, and got the ticket to Tokyo.
Sikuwa nilikuwa nimeenda tu nipate ile exposure, lakini sasa pia nikapita na hiyo ticket kabisa.
It's been a tough year for everyone else here due to the pandemic. How has it affected your training, your preparations for the games in Tokyo?
I was supposed to have like 1 month in Portugal training.
I was supposed to go to Portugal for a 1-month training program in March 2020. Since I'm still new to the sport and obviously an underdog. The pandemic, however, got in the way and I haven't been able to go since. I also don't have a home rowing machine, which would have been really helpful. So throughout the year, I've just been doing a lot of gym work and 2 yoga sessions a day. It helped me stay mentally sharp and physically fit.
Morning na jioni na kula yoga.
Asia, you are a multi-talented athlete. You participate in multiple disciplines. What drives your competitiveness?
Kwa mlema, magonjwa.
For persons living with a disability, diseases being overweight comes really fast if you don't exercise. We have to be active all the time. I was heading in that direction around 5 years ago. I'm an early childhood teacher, and in December 2016, I decided to quit my job to concentrate fully on my health. I tried out for any sport that was available. I had all the time in the world. I started doing marathons a while back. I have won the Nairobi Stanchart Wheelchair Marathon almost 6 times now. I've also been very successful at the Africa Tennis Championships.
African Championships, like zote.
Finally, Asia, what impact do you hope your qualification to the Tokyo 2020 Paralympics will have on para-athletes here in Kenya and para-sports in general?
The rowing itself was dying here in Kenya. It was really dying, especially the para-rowing. Lakini sasa.
But now, I'm already sensing so much hope. For some of my teammates, seeing me qualify after joining the sport just a couple of years ago has given them so much confidence because we have also the PR2 team who have their qualifiers coming up in a few months' time. I also hope this will make the Federation wake up and the Ministry of Sports can also support the talent we have here, not just the able-bodied athletes, but the para-athletes as well.
Yeah.
Well, it's time for us to take another short break. Here's what's coming up. South African Toyota Gazoo racing team unveils its driver lineup for the 2021 Dakar Rally.
You don't find the stories of North Africa by sitting on the sidelines.
You've got to get out, go there, and you'll find them. In the bazaars of Casablanca. Among the crowds in Cairo.
Who come to visit Cairo, the ancient capital of Egypt.
Along the waters of the Nile. along the sands of the Sahara. No one else will take you where we can in North Africa. No one else will show you what it's all about. CGTN, see the difference.
Welcome back. Now, the South African Toyota Gazoo racing team for the 2021 Dakar Rally was unveiled this week at the team's headquarters in Johannesburg. Former winners Nasser Al-Attiyah and Genial de Villiers will lead the charge, while unknown rookie Henk Lattegan will be out to prove he belongs with the esteemed veterans in January next year. Here is CGTN's CS du Plessis with more.
It is all systems go for South Africa's Toyota Gazoo racing team ahead of the 2021 edition of the Dakar. The equipment and supplies are packed, the vehicles prepped, and the drivers and co-drivers gearing up for what promises to be another daunting trip through the unrelenting desert terrain of Saudi Arabia.
The second half of the year we were pretty busy, testing quite a lot in the Kalahari Desert. We went to Namibia for a test. So we managed to do quite a few things, you know, and we managed to improve the car a little bit in all the small areas. So from that point of view, I'm pretty pleased with that. So yeah, now the race is we got to go and do it again.
There will be added pressure on the Dakar debutant who, after a year that saw him win his second consecutive national cross-country series, will be expected to repay the faith shown in him by the Toyota team.
My happiest days aren't where we've won or we've done well compared to the other guys. The best days for me in the car is when you catch a flow and when everything starts going well and you and the navigator are communicating well and you just have a lot of fun. Those are the best days for me. So hopefully we can have a few of those days. And then usually when you have days like that, it all starts coming together.
De Villiers, who'll be out to claim a 9th podium, believes that the new route will prove to be difficult, but he welcomes the challenge each time he lines up on the start line.
You know, once you've got the first stage under the belt, it becomes a bit, you know, you're more settled and more relaxed, and things become a little bit easier. But you know, having said that, it's nowadays it's become so competitive, and the race is so fast. It's basically a sprint race from the beginning. So you've got to be awake from the word go.
The Toyota Gazoo racing team will be sending a formidable mix of battle-hardened former winners and exciting rookies to the 2021 edition of the Dakar. The Johannesburg-based team will be out to avoid the errors made on their first Saudi outing, which saw tyre problems cost them dearly. One thing is for sure, they will respect the world's toughest endurance race, but won't be holding back in the desert as they chase the most sought-after title in off-road racing. CS du Plessis, CGTN, Johannesburg.
Cameroon's Women's Football League has resumed after an 8-month suspension due to COVID-19. Guinness Cameroon has stepped in to pay the salaries of the players for the next 2 years to promote the game beset by financial challenges. CGTN's Mohamed Abubakar now reports.
Cameroon was among the first African nations to embrace women's football, and it has since produced many great female footballers. However, its domestic women's football league has struggled to get a sponsor on board for years. With the return of the First Division Women's Championship post-COVID-19 lockdown, the league has secured a title sponsor, courtesy of Guinness Cameroon. The sponsorship has come as a much-needed cash bailout for women footballers in the country.
The arrival of a sponsor is a great satisfaction for all Cameroonian women footballers, especially those who've decided to make a career in football. I believe that from now on, we will no longer find it difficult to find our daily bread. We would like to thank Guinness Cameroon for the support they are giving to young female footballers.
With the arrival of the new sponsor, I'm really determined to be among the top scorers in the championship this year. This support will enable our team to do well in the league, and who knows, we can even participate in the Women Champion League in the future.
The amount allocated to the women footballers remains unknown at the moment.
In the past, we had enormous difficulties in coping with the needs of the players. The president of our league had to manage with the means available to support the players. With the arrival of the sponsor, we can say that it is a relief. I think even a per diem of $50 to $60 per player could be quite sufficient.
We see
that the players are already motivated by the announcement. Last year, they had no salary. With the support of the sponsor, they're very fit and punctual at training sessions and have doubled their efforts. It is not easy to get a salary as a player here in Cameroon.
The teams in the Women's Championship are also expecting the COVID-19 relief funds promised to them by the Cameroonian government. But in the meantime, the Football Federation is still in the hunt for another sponsor to cater for the Second Division Championship. Mohamed Abubakar, CGTN.
And that does it for this week's edition of Sports Scene. Thank you very much for watching. Do remember you can send your feedback to those contacts on your screen now and give us a follow on our digital media platforms. Once again, thanks for watching. I'm Mahia Mutua in Nairobi. Before we go, we'll leave you with some of the hottest moves in breaking, also known as breakdancing, that cleared its final hurdle to feature in the Paris 2024 Olympic Games.